Lawrence Chong, a self-made man, we are proud of your story. I'm proud to have you today, not just as a business professional, but also as a global impact ambassador. Thank you for being with us. The mic is yours.
Thank you, Omar, and it's so great to be here and with all of you. So you probably know Singapore as crazy rich Asians. I'm going to tell you another side about Singapore, and I think it is something that is not often mentioned. Singapore is an unlikely nation because it was not meant to exist. When it was booted out of Malaysia, a much larger country, all the odds were stacked against Singapore. All the odds including there's no market, there's no hinterland, and it was meant to fail. Turns out that when you have limits in life and when you have little, it's actually the best thing that will ever happen to you. And I'm sure many of you here in your own personal journeys and in your own sharing of experiences, you will know what I mean. And so the smallness of Singapore, and with very unique sense of purpose and leadership, enables Singapore to achieve from a GNP of US 540 in 1965 to 54,920 in 2020. And I'm telling you this story because it was a story I grew up with, that as a small nation, as an island, not larger than the entire state of New York, actually, the only way we can survive and thrive in this great and exciting new world is to be resilient. And I guess these past 2 years has hit everyone in such a severe way. It has been difficult. At the same time, we have seen so many beautiful examples and experience of resilience, which is why I'm very excited to share with you our own discovery over the past 2 years in journeying with companies all over the world. We have one mission. We were founded in 2004, and we felt that management consulting is good. Well, it's good to focus on raising profit margins, helping people to make more and more money. But there has to be a greater purpose for management consulting. There has to be a greater purpose for the service and the vocation of being consultant. So we felt that because management consultancy impact so much of the spending and the budgets from governments to Fortune 500 companies, how can we create another form of consultancy that impact a better and inclusive economy? So our theory of change comes from bringing about a new generation of management consultants and designers. And you know that designers and consultants, they don't mix very well. It's like oil and water. But over 18 years, we managed to turn it into olive oil and vinegar. Then how can we create a business model that is a large consulting practice that still allow us to serve the smallest and the least enterprises, social enterprises, while at the same time impacting powerful individuals and leaders, just like this great conference that Omar and team have put together and have gathered all of us from all the corners of the world. Back to COVID-19, it was a disruption, as you can say, that no one was prepared for. If anyone said that you were ready and we foresaw this, please let me know, right? For sure, there has been a kind of a shell shock experience. It's akin to feeling the shock waves of a shell that has landed nearby. I've experienced it because I used to serve in the armed forces, right? In live firing moments, and you can feel it, and you have to really steel yourself in order to move forward. And even the best case studies in the world that have been featured in many of the best books failed during this pandemic. And rarely has any sector ever did not suffer the kind of the impact that we have seen. For sure, information technology has done very well, but every single sector was hit in a massive way. So what we tried to do as well, as part of our mission and vocation as well to reach out to a lot of enterprises, we decided to very quickly help a lot of companies that were going through major crisis to help them remodel their businesses very quickly in order to survive and overcome the challenges. And we did a lot of these review sessions across the world, from Asia, South Africa, South America, Europe. And what we did at the same time while working with this, we looked at 12 indicators from the strength of the relationship with the employees, their relationship with the suppliers, the strength of relationship with the customers, the kind of the partnerships they have, financial sustainability, the impact on sales, operations, the level of digitization, marketing, the ability to be consistent in delivering the products and services, product and service innovation, and how well are they able to pivot. And we found this very, very interesting 4 C's, that if any of the organizations, if they had this, they survive better during the pandemic. The first thing is, if these companies were cost-driven, that means they were clear, of course, they have to be focused on growth, they have to do very well, but they had a sense of purpose. They had the ability to unite their team, their suppliers, and their customers, that they were fighting for something greater beyond just business excellence, so being cost-driven. Then the second thing was during the pandemic, because it was a moment of deep stress and tension, and many people worked many hours. And if those companies had great culture of trust, they were able to mobilize, they were able to mitigate a lot of the challenges and the risks and overcome the challenges. Then the other thing, we realized that these companies were also able to have a creative vision. That means maybe a large part of their businesses are down. They are no longer viable, but they were able to engineer a more creative view. Hey, we can do business in a different way. And that allowed them to see new revenue streams, new opportunities. And finally, because they were cost-driven, they had a culture of trust, and they had this ability to see differently, that allowed them to pivot competently. And we found that this corporate resilience allowed a lot of these companies to emulate almost like what Apple went through. And we know the Apple story very well. It was a company near bankruptcy when Steve Jobs came back. But with that sense of the cause and the culture of trust that Steve Jobs was able to engineer, right? And having that creative vision to see the end of the PC industry and going towards the post-PC era, Apple was able to pivot. And now very much so, Apple continues to ride on that vision of Steve Jobs. And Tim Cook has, of course, exceeded everyone's expectation, being a $1 trillion company many times over. And here's the thing. Now that the pandemic is almost coming under control, we hope, as we try to look forward to meeting each other, we see 4 exciting trends, which is the rise of food tech, because food security has become, and of course the recent conflict has aggravated food security, so food tech will grow. Then of course environment, climate change and deeper awareness. There's a lot of private equity and venture capital, and Singapore being a major hub of private equity, we see a lot of investments going in this area. And obviously data. In this conference, many of you have shared very important insights on data. Then finally, we see that the rise of the space sector is going to change the entire realm and roles and processes of business in a dramatic way. The future is up to each one of us. I'm certainly looking forward to meeting each one of you in person in Singapore, anywhere around the world, or wherever Omar may call us out for a drink, right? And may you shape the future. It's great being here with all of you.
Thank you so much, Lawrence Chong.